Hello there, everybody. Welcome back to Planet Coaster. My name is Shadow Phoenix, and we are back in Vista View today. And we are rebuilding a coaster that some of you guys who have been following from the very beginning of the entire series will remember. That's right, it's Thunder Run, my giant wooden masterpiece of a coaster that I created for the first version of the park. And this one is going to follow pretty much the basic outline and some of the ideas and stuff that I had for the original one, except it's going to be slightly different. It's not going to be the same trains. It does have different trains on it. And we're going to do the ending of it a little bit different. So, but most everything else is going to stay the same. It's still going to come out of the station, go down through the ravine, then it's going to hit the lift hill as it comes back up. And then from the lift hill, dive down, what kind of word is that? It's going to dive down underneath of the station, underneath a walkway to the station, I should say. Come back up, and then it's going to go through like a helix, like a hilled helix. I call it the Rosebow. Dive down through a tunnel, which you guys have already seen, and then it's going to go around the station. So it's going to have a station fly through. So what's going to change on this coaster is how we do the ending of it. The ending of the coaster was always something that I wasn't very fond of. It didn't really work out too well. I had to work with it a lot to try to get that to do what I wanted it to do. So this time around we're going to do something just a tad bit different. And that's pretty much going to be about the only change to it, other than, like it's technically its location and a few other tiny little details that are going to actually make the coaster better. So yeah, this time around we are doing, I've learned a lot in playing Planet Coaster over the year, and a lot of the things that I've learned are going to go into this coaster. And I can't really specifically say what those things are, but it's just little details and how you add them and how you do the controls. Plus, not to mention the fact that when I first built the coaster, we didn't have a lot of the tools that we have now. We didn't actually even have this particular coaster. We also didn't have the ability to do the land, to work with the land around the coaster. So, there's a lot of things that actually get changed in this. Friction is another one. We can change the friction, which was something that would have been neat to have in the original one, because I had such a problem trying to get it to actually just come back into the station. It just kind of it ran out of momentum during the last part of the ride, and that was something I didn't care for it about. So this one isn't actually going to be the finishing of it. You will see that in another video. I do want to say this though. This is actually going to be the last Vista View video for a little while. I don't have. This is like the last bit of time-lapse footage that I have of the park, and so I've gotten far enough to where what am I trying to say here? I've ran out of footage to use, basically. I've got all the footage I had previously of all my time lapses and stuff, and all the construction videos and stuff I took when I was working on the park. I've gotten through it all. This is the last one left. Everything else that I have left on my drives are of Whitaker Lake and Crystal Gardens. So you guys are going to be seeing a lot more of those two parks in the next upcoming week. Is it the last video from Vista View? Not at all. Absolutely not. We are going to be doing some more videos. I just got to do some recording of some footage, which it's going to be slow. Those of you who have been watching my Twitch videos here lately, you will know that I have been actually working on Vista View in the last couple of weeks here. Crystal Gardens has been handed off to somebody. They are kind of looking at the park to see if there's anything that they would like to add into it, building-wise. That's all I'm going to say about that right now. If it becomes a thing, it becomes a thing, and we'll discuss that in a much later video. But for now, we're just kind of waiting. A couple of things I did do, though. I did offer this park, actually, Vista View, a while back ago. I offered it to a couple of different people to see if they would be interested in building in it, and unfortunately both the people that I asked, they turned me down. So I guess I'm just not famous enough. I'm not Silverette. They were actually kind of busy, they said, so they didn't have the time to actually work in it. There's one area in particular, then there's one person that I would love to have come in and actually work on it. I'm not going to say who or anything like that, but I did offer them an opportunity, and they just said that they didn't have the time. They had just too many other things that they were working on at the moment, which is unfortunate because, yeah, it is what it is. But I've got some plans now. I took a break from this park for a very, very long time, and I started working on Whitaker Lake, and then I started working on Crystal Gardens, and those two parks have taken up pretty much all my time. And it's actually kind of a good thing, because if I hadn't, then I wouldn't be able to finish this park, because I really need to just take some time off. I was at a creative block, basically. I didn't know what else I wanted to do. At this point, I was just recreating things I'd already done before, and it was just kind of a little bit boring. Like this coaster, the log flume, which is where I had just finished the log flume area and all of that particular area right when I accidentally saved over top of the park, which kind of sucks. But you know, basically what I was doing, and you know, I kind of just come to a block, was I was redoing that log flume, and I wasn't feeling it anymore. So I took a break. It was also during my little depression that I have talked about before on my videos as well. So yeah, I took a break from Vista View. I worked on some other stuff, but I'm coming back into it now, and I'm pretty happy. So now we have actually got the finishing of the coaster, and you kind of noticed there it jumped from the construction of the coaster itself to we've already got the station done, which I didn't record any of that. We've put some trees and foliage and stuff around. Now we're working on this little thing that I had on the original version, which was a little, like a shack. I guess it's a mining shack, and then it's kind of going right over the lift hill. So I did a completely custom lift hill tunnel on this thing. And by completely custom, I mean I didn't just place walls down and have it go up. I literally placed every single plank and piece of wood up on each side of this thing, which you will see here in just a little bit. I didn't stop there though. This bottom part down here, all of this is completely custom as well. I wanted it to look different than what everything else did, and I decided that we would take and we'd put some pieces of wood down here on the bottom and kind of like place them here and there on it to kind of make it look like a little rundown. And that's why I didn't use just all one side of a wall or anything like that. I literally did this. This is something I also did with Thunderation, if you guys watched that video. And there will be more of that video coming as well here soon. But yeah, I just kind of, I custom built this little, you know, this little shack here with just using planks and driftwood and other things like that. The tunnel itself, which you will see me start construction on here in just a little bit, is completely made out of the driftwood pieces. And it was a pain in the ass, to be honest, to kind of do. But the end result is definitely worthwhile. I'm very, 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 very happy with the end result as it comes out. Yeah, so I don't really have a whole lot to talk about right now at this very moment. For some odd reason, my video just kind of stopped there. Okay, there we go. Yeah, there's not much left to really discuss in this. It's just, you know, the construction of the lift hill, and that's pretty much it. So I'm just going to sit back and let the video play here for a little bit, and I will chime in when I actually have something that I see on the video to discuss. So enjoy this little time lapse here, and I will see you guys in just a little bit when we start construction of another piece of this coaster here shortly. Okay, so I did want to kind of chime in here just a little bit and talk about what I was doing with these particular pieces of driftwood here. So I'm lining each side of it up with the track there to make the tunnel. And the driftwood itself, I wanted to change the colors of the different pieces of driftwood to kind of give it a bit of a variation, because if you use the exact same color all the way up, it kind of looks kind of strange. I think in the end, like the very last end result, the finished product, I ended up going with 3 different colors all the way down through there. So yeah, it definitely helps to do that. You also want to turn them a little bit as well. You don't want to, if you're trying this on your own, don't just take the driftwood and just start lining it up and down through there. Take one piece, place it, and then the next piece, move it over, but turn it upside down. Like, you know, just like flip it basically. So that way also you get another bit of variation in it as well. So variate the angle of the piece, so have one side this way, one side another way, and then also change the colors of it as well, and you get what you have here, which is a much more realistic looking kind of custom built wall, so to speak. And it definitely looks rustic and very run down, very ramshackle, and that's exactly what I was going with, and that's why I used the driftwood pieces instead of the planks. The planks look like they're more newer pieces of wall, while the driftwood looks like it's more like it's aged, so to speak. And I think that actually turned out much, much better. So now what I'm doing is I'm getting ready to just flip everything to the other side there. So there you go. That was an easy way of doing that, though grabbing those pieces was not easy, and then trying to line them up because apparently I was not working at the right angle. But that's, you know, that's how things work. So you got to work with things like this. So I will chime back in here in another little bit once we get to the rock area and our ravine. So I will see you guys shortly. Okay, so now we have finished the lift hill tunnel, and now let's move on to the ravine. Those of you guys who remember Thunder Run from the original version know that I had this really cool, like, running water creek bed ravine kind of thing coming down from the actual station, and it followed the track down into the ravine. And the way I did that was basically this right here. I placed down the rocks, and then I also used some of the special effects here. And we just kind of used some of the water things there to kind of make this ravine. This is not easy as it looks. Now, when you watch this video, you got to remember that all of this is sped up. It takes time to do all of this. This is not something that I did just, you know, like something I threw together in a matter of minutes or anything like this. This was something that I experimented with the first time I did this coaster, so it was something that I kind of remembered doing. The first time I did this, it took a lot of time to try to get this just right. This time around, it doesn't take as long, but you have to remember, I've heard people say that, oh, you were so awesome, you know, I'll never be this good. I'm not that great at this game, guys. I'm really not. There are so many people who are better than me, and people that I have learned tricks and stuff from as well. So, you know, it's watching these videos and stuff. Don't let yourself get overcome and think, oh, you know, I'll never be this good. I might as well just quit. I have 2,500 hours in this game, if not more than that at this moment. All of this is just, it comes from precision. It comes from willingness to create what I want to make, and sitting down and experimenting, figuring out how to do things the right way. And sometimes I'll see something in somebody else's video and I'll be like, oh, that's really cool, I never thought of that. And then, you know, I'll use that. Another thing to do is, of course, obviously, you know, downloading other people's parks, things like that, looking at, like, taking apart how, say you find a building that you really, really like, take it apart, you know, download that from the workshop if you find it on the workshop anyway. Take it apart, see how they did it, you know, learn that stuff. That's how I did it. I didn't get this good just overnight. This took a lot of time. And I say that like, you know, I'm just some expert at this game when I say I didn't get this good, you know, overnight. I'm not that good, to be honest. I'm really not. Which is why my subscriber base and stuff isn't that great, and I don't have that many subscribers, and, you know, which is why I'm losing my partnership with YouTube because of this whole bull crap thing that they're doing. But yeah, so basically I just want to kind of say that don't get discouraged. You know, you can build stuff like this too if you sit down and you take your time. You're not going to start off with some major masterpiece like this. And I do consider this coaster to be actually a pretty good masterpiece of mine. I was really happy with the first version I did, and then I sat down and I had to recreate that, which was not easy to try to redo something I had already done. It wasn't as hard as I expected it to be, but it still was not an easy task. So, especially since I was like, I've already done all this before, now I had to do it all again. And I just had that whole mindset at the time, and it was just kind of slowing me down, basically. But yeah, you gotta remember, this is sped up like 6 times, 8 times faster than what it is. This is like 6, 7, 8 hours of footage here that you guys are watching that's been cut and edited and time-lapsed and, you know, rendered into a faster speed. So, you know, it's all sped up and cut down. So this isn't something, again, that I threw together in just a matter of minutes. And since I had remembered that I had already done all this before, and I had a working plan that, you know, I knew exactly how it was going to come out, I knew exactly how it was going to look, and I knew exactly how to do it already, that saved a bunch of time on this one. The original version took me at least a week, I think, to do, and I did this one in a couple of days. So, you know, having done it already, it just made it easier. But, yeah, again, just don't get discouraged. This is what happened to me when Planet Coaster first came out, when it was an alpha. I bought the alpha. I paid the $75 for the alpha, and I sat down and I tried it out, and I was like, okay, this is, I'm completely new to this. All of this is new to me. I didn't know what I was doing at all. It had no tutorial. It still doesn't. So, you know, it was just trying to figure it out and do things. So I sat down and I made my first coaster, and I was able to do that, you know, and I was pretty happy with the coaster I made. It wasn't anything spectacular. In alpha, we only actually had kind of like 2 coaster types to begin with. So I made like this B&M hyper coaster, kind of modeled a little bit after Mako, and that was how I kind of learned that. So the coaster creating thing is actually somewhat easy to learn. It was the things after that that was the hardest. So I started seeing people like Silverette and some others and stuff, and they were creating these awesome masterpieces, using pieces for other things instead of just using it for pirate stuff, which is all we had in the beginning. They were making these like Asian buildings and all this other stuff, and it was just, I was completely blown away, and I could not figure out how to do it. I couldn't build buildings, and I saw their videos, I got discouraged, and I quit. And I didn't play Planet Coaster again until it was in beta. That's when I picked it up again and started learning how to do everything, and I kind of got to get the hang of everything. If you look back at one of the first videos I ever made of Planet Coaster, you will see that it is by far very, very distant from anything I create at this point. And I've been playing this game pretty much nonstop since beta, so that's where I am, you know, somewhat where I am now. So I guess what I'm just trying to say is, you know, if you think that you're not that good at the game, but you want to be, don't get discouraged by my videos or anybody else's videos that you see. You know, if you watch Jubilee Gardens, if you watch Silverette, don't let that discourage you. You too can be really good at the game if you want to be. That's all it takes, is the need and desire to be good at it. And that's all I really want to say, is that just put some time into it, sit down, learn it, build yourself a building, you know, find a building that you like, sit down, try to recreate that building in Planet Coaster. Don't try something like extremely detailed or anything like that right off the bat. Just try something simple. Work your way up. Eventually, you too can actually be great at this game. And, you know, maybe someday I'll be watching your videos here on YouTube. You never know. But that's going to do it for this episode. I'm glad you guys have tuned in. I will see you guys in the next video, which will most likely be Crystal Gardens. And until then, I bid you adieu, guys. Welcome to the channel if you are new, and I will see you in the next video. Hey everyone, if you'd like to help support me and my channel, I have a Patreon page where you can do just that. You can pledge anything from $1 or more. Anyone who pledges $15 or more gets a unique, specially designed roller coaster from Planet Coaster made just for them. My little way of saying thanks. You can also just send donations as well if you don't want to join Patreon. And you can find those links in the video description below. Every tiny red cent I make from these means the world to me and is extremely helpful. If you're interested in my PC setup that I work with and play on that you see here, every piece of the system is described below with links to Amazon if you want to purchase them or anything else. Thanks for tuning in to my videos and my channel. If you aren't already a subscriber, click that on the screen below. And you can also check out a few of my other videos on the screen here as well. You can keep up to date on what's going on in my own little world via Twitter or watch me stream live on Twitch as well. Links are in the video description below. So wherever you are in the world, good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night.